Hi there, everyone. My name is Christian Eschbach, and welcome to another one of my album reviews. This is going to begin a interesting little series of related and connected events leading into through the next 5 album reviews. You already read what this one's going to be, so you already know this is Black Sabbath. Paranoid. One of the greatest must-have albums. Not my favorite Black Sabbath album. I'll be covering that next. This, though, this is the special re-release. I didn't get the one with the bonus tracks. I looked at the one with the bonus tracks. I wasn't interested in the one with the bonus tracks because the only thing I would have loved to have heard an alternate version of would have been Rat Salad, which I'll get to. And that was the one track on there that didn't have an alternate or a different variation or anything. So I didn't bother to pick it up. This is the album that made Black Sabbath. This is the album that made Ozzy Osbourne. This is the album that made heavy metal. Realistically, this album contains 3 of the most popular hard rock heavy metal songs of all time. You have the you have the title track "Paranoid," which wasn't even the name of the original album. See that guy there? That guy right there? That guy that looks really weird. It's supposed to be a samurai, but it's some guy with a. This is. Man, look at that. For some reason, it makes me think of Paul McCartney when he had his full facial hair, wearing a motorcycle helmet, brandishing a sword and a shield. I appreciate the photography and how they did it and whatnot. That can be achieved in one solid shot if it's done right and be done really well. And I believe, based on what I can see here, it was. But the song Paranoid, if you don't know, was cobbled together in, I can't remember the exact time, but less than 30 minutes. They needed one more track to fill out the album. And then all of a sudden you get the legendary well, that changed and disrupted the entire process for the album because the album was no longer called War Pigs, which is what this picture was supposed to be for. It was now called Paranoid. And speaking of War Pigs, that's the song that actually kicks off the album. It's War Pigs. And let me tell you, that is a fun song to play. You know, I've never played it live, but I have jammed it out. And man, is that song fun to jam out. There's so many dynamics and so much playing in there. It's a really great song, man. And I like the message behind it, too. You know, the lyrics. Once again, you know, I'm not a big lyrics guy, but this was that hippie stuff without being hippie stuff, man. This was the scary stuff, but scary hippie stuff, you know, really it was. Anti-war, it was very anti-war. Okay, so from there we go into Paranoid, as I was saying, a song that was just thrown on the album and disrupted what was supposed to happen with the album. I have played that song live. I mean, can you really say you've played in a band and played live and if you haven't played Paranoid? You know? It's just great song. Now, I've never played it on guitar. I've never played it on bass. I've only played it on drums and I've sang it, but that's it, you know. But it's a great song. It's so much fun. So much fun. I can understand how Ozzy can play it night after all those years because it's one of those songs. It's fast, it's quick, and it's over and done before you even realize it. And it's got this great little instrumental section in the middle. It is the perfect version of what a tight radio track should be. From there, we go into the spectral and haunting Planet Caravan. Oh, this song is unlike anything on this album. Nothing on this album compares to this, okay? When I was never a huge Pantera fan. I appreciated 1 or 2 songs here or there. Cowboys from Hell I thought was an okay tune. I later picked up that album, you know, and I've picked up many Pantera albums since, but it took until they did Planet Caravan and they did it cherry that I really started to respect Pantera. Because Planet Caravan, that's just one of those songs, man. You are definitely a hardcore Sabbath fan when you start quoting Planet Caravan as one of your favorite songs. But most Black Sabbath fans I know always put it in their list because the hauntingness and the just the way the music takes you and swirls around and whatnot, it's beautiful. Then we go into the legendary Iron Man. Oh. Yet again, another song I've never played live, but fun to jam around and fuck around with a bunch of guys. You know, you have a good time. Really good tune. And I'm sure you've heard Iron Man. It doesn't get the radio play that it used to. It doesn't. Part of it being the length of the song, part of it being that, you know, it's come to be seen as kind of maybe a little overrated. I know it got a little bit of a boost when, you know, the first Iron Man movie came back out again, but, you know, it's Iron Man. You got to respect it, but doesn't mean you want to hear it all the time. From there, we go into Electric Funeral. This song has always been one of my absolute favorite songs off of this album, and the production on this song is why I love it so much, man. I mean, the warble, the back and forth, the panning between the right and the left. If you're wearing, I've had issues where, you know, like I'm listening to it with a really good set of headphones and I really got it going, where it actually causes a distortion and will actually make me get wobbly as I'm walking. Yeah. Crazy. This beautiful production. Absolute phenomenal. And that was on the old cheap ass version of the album. This is the digitally remastered version, okay? That tells you how much more clearer it is going to be and how much more pristine it's going to be. From there, we go into Hand of Doom. Okay, so Hand of Doom to me is the weakest song on this album. And there is no weak song on this album, let's be very clear. Hand of Doom is just this great monster of a boom coming down on you. I mean, Hand of Doom, you know, it sounds like it is. But once again, very, very anti-Vietnam, very anti-war, very hippie, really. It really is. But it's scary as mother. Yeah! Ooh! From there, we go into what I already mentioned, Rat Salad. This is a instrumental jam where the drums really get to go jazz style, man. I love Bill Ward's jazz drumming, man. He does some drumming that is just phenomenal. Bill Ward is, in the grand scheme of things, I think he's overlooked and he's underrated. But even amongst all the drummers that I love and quote as major influences, Bill Ward is not as big of an influence as I should even quote him as myself. And it's because of songs like Rat Salad, man. Rat Salad, I heard that. That's what got me into wanting to play drums, was listening to songs like Rat Salad. That's what got me into that whole idea of jamming and putting together these great little things where you didn't just have to, you could interact, you could play off of, you could do the call and respond. Oh, fantastic. Now, the last song on the album, the closer, is a little bit controversial, pending on how you view it. When you really pay attention to the lyrics, it's not that it's offensive. It's not that it's meant to be cruel or rude or mean. It's just shock, you know, especially for the time period, okay? So you gotta remember, this album was released in 1971, all right? And the song that we're talking about is Fairies Wear Boots. And it also has a little in brackets thing called Jack the Stripper. And that's honestly what it is. It's running across a guy stripping on stage. And yes, fairy is a derogative term. And yes, it is a term that should not be used now. But I have my own personal take on it because I actually do like proper fairies. Okay, I've got to think about fairies. I really I think fairies are pretty, depending on what type of fairies we're talking about, there's a whole thing. I've loved fairies. I've read a lot of stuff about fairies over the years, stuff like that. Um, I really like when they're done up. So when I think of a fairy in boots, I actually think of a fairy in boots. And even with the lyrics, the way the lyrics go, if you honestly change it to where you're thinking about running past a tavern, and if you ever see Moulin Rouge, for example, the Green Fairy. So say you've been out on a night of absinthe and you're seeing the Green Fairy and the Green Fairy's wearing boots. If you listen to the lyrics of this and you imply it that way, where you're seeing the Green Fairy and whatnot, it works the same way. So it's not, to me, it's not as offensive as it could be because I choose to change it. And I really think that that's how the world should look at it now. Don't look at it as a derogative term for homosexuals. Think of it as actual fairies instead, out drinking and absinthe especially. Absinthe is good stuff. If you ever get a chance to try it, I've never had the good absinthe. I've never had the Green Fairy seeing absinthe. I've only had the stuff that's legal over here in North America, well, in Canada, because the US is a little weird about that too. I'd love to try some other absinthe. But anyways, folks, I'm getting way out there. Black Sabbath, Paranoid. Top 10. One of the greatest albums, honestly, ever released. This, to me, once again, this is not my favorite Black Sabbath album, but this is honestly a perfect 10 album, okay? I've mentioned this once before. I mentioned that Aerosmith, Toys in the Attic, was like a perfect 10 album to me. Not even my favorite Aerosmith album. Well, it probably is my favorite Aerosmith album. But, this is not my favorite Black Sabbath album, but even still, I am saying this is a perfect 10 album. There is nothing wrong with this album. There's nothing bad about this album. And the one track to me that I would say is only an album cut, which is Hand of Doom, is still far superior to anything most other bands put out. I mean, the reality is, Alice Cooper, Black Sabbath is next. And it's because of albums like this. Totally because of albums like this. And I will always gush about Black Sabbath. Love Black Sabbath. Anyways, folks, comments. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. That's what the comment section is for. Like button, subscribe button, share button. That helps me out, helps you out. Especially that like and subscribe button. Otherwise, peace, love, take care.